from Stacktown. We taking investors who want stocks. I wanted to see the world, so I got on the block.
I just said, God, like, tell me something. Like, what you want me to do? And I went to church the next day, and the sermon was about open your mouth up. Talk, get it out. In the streets, everywhere. You know what I mean? So that inspired me, and I'm glad y'all here. I'd like to give music and get a CD going, a soundtrack, so when people come out, they know what they're hearing. You know what I mean? So
my name is Fox. I represent We Are Art Society. And basically, I want to say first off, give yourself a round of applause because, you know, it takes guts to do what we are doing, us as artists and musicians, poets or whatever. You know, we come away from what we're doing on the daytime, or we kind of different from what everybody else is doing, and we come out and pursue our passion.
Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you all for supporting Black Lives Matter. Thank you for showcasing what I am confident will be some amazing talents tonight. I want to just go ahead and start, you know, because I know everybody's waiting to hear some performances. Start off with a question, get people's minds going. I know this is ostensibly about Black Lives Matter, but sometimes when we hear this phrase, when we hear this term in the media, sometimes we don't take a step back to think about what that really means. So let's just start off with the question: what does it mean to you when you hear the term Black Lives Matter, and do you think in general America recognizes that Black Lives Matter? Anybody?
So my name is Dior Ashley Brown, and I've actually been thinking a lot about Black Lives Matter, and people get mad at me when I say, you know, lives matter, and I'll say to myself, why would we need to put emphasis on the fact that Black Lives matter? Because humanity matters, and that is common sense, and that we are all pumping blood, pumping heart, blood people, you know. So like to start, you know, focusing on the fact that a humanity, that a person matters is crazy. You know what I'm saying? We are all out here trying to live and survive. So for me, Black Lives Matter, I love the movement, I love what it stands for, but humanity matters. People matter, and I don't want to get any more division because, you know, just the other day in Monetta, VA, you know, a brother was a part of a shooting and committed suicide. So evidently, you know, the division and separation doesn't work. So we have to get our minds to thinking that humanity, that life, that people, that beings on this earth matter.
And I think that for the purposes of this actual movement, that there's nothing wrong with Black Lives Matter. However, I have to agree with the sister that all lives do matter. It's just the fact that these things that have been going on, like, it's not like they knew, but they have sparked like this movement to say, it's almost like you're saying, hey, we matter too. So it's not like you're just saying, hey, only Black Lives Matter. We're trying to tell the world that, you know, Black Lives matter too. Like, it's not just your people, it's all of us, it's humanity. We're on this earth together. And I know that God does not see color. So, you know, for me to just see color, and the fact is, you know, I'm a strong black man. I believe in my people, I love my people, you know, but I talked to somebody about this the other day. I got 3 white brothers. I don't call them stepbrothers because my father raised them from when they was babies, right? And so I have a love for them, but I also know what has happened to us over centuries and centuries and centuries. So I'm not blind to that. But the fact is that, you know, the more division you get, the more separatism you get as far as ideals and stuff like that, then the fact of coming together for a common cause when we need it, because trust me, this world is in a very, very, very bad place right now. And if we don't have unity across the board, forget about it. You know what I'm saying? So Black lives do matter. And at this time and at this particular function and this stage of the movement, I'll say that proudly. Black lives do matter. But if a brother or sister approaches me and asks me, do I think all lives matter? Yeah, they do. And I'll say that proudly as
I
well.
wanted to say that, well, it's kind of two parts to what I wanted to say, that I do think too that it's needed to say Black Lives Matter because of the circumstances that it's said under. You know, it's like when an animal is about to be extinct, they make it about that animal's lives, you know what I mean? So it's like the way that we as a people have been attacked through history, from the Bible. You know, it's to a point now, we've been so overwhelmed. We're finally like, hey, like you said, Black Lives Matter too. Now what I don't want is like for that to make people feel excluded if they're suffering from some sort of pain to say, and I matter too. So, you know, I'm not against if somebody else said, well, all lives matter. Hey, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Because you're going through something, we all for the same cause, you know. So I don't want, you know, I try to speak something wise when a lot of times white people come on my posts and say all lives matter. And I'm like, we're not saying it doesn't. So supporting one doesn't mean we're excluding another. You might got some that feel real like that. My mom feel real like that, but I don't, you know.
So does anybody have any idea where Black Lives Matter kind of originated, the precipitating event, if you will?
Could we say
Incident that I heard of in my lifetime, not saying that I hadn't heard of any, but that was the first one where it was just a national attention was around this one particular. I know some things happened before I was born, you know, Rodney King, things like that, or when I was really young. But what was your initial reaction to the death of Trayvon Martin and the issues relating to the aftermath of his death? And even, you know, how he ended up dead.
And I think with that particular situation, what really got me and everyone else I saw, we hear about the police, like the police shooting people is nothing new. And not even our people, like the police shooting people and nothing happens to them, that's nothing new, it gets swept under the rug. But in that case, like, this guy that killed this young man, he wasn't a police officer. And like nothing happened. He didn't even get taken in. So that's crazy. Like that's kind of unheard of. I don't think I can go shoot somebody and I go in the house. So I think that kind of what got people riled up and on. And plus it was a kid. Not saying that it makes a difference, but you killed the kid that was unarmed and you go in the house. No questioning, no nothing. Like that's crazy. That's like this gives a green light, and you know people lead by example whether it's good or bad. If he can do that, other people that want to do that think they can do it. Like homeboy that killed the kid in the car for playing the music too loud. I don't think if George Zimmerman happened, that wouldn't have happened. It's like chains of events. So that's my thoughts on it.
Shank, representing District Soldiers. Hey, man, first of all, let me say this. All police is bad. I'm not a police, but all police is not bad. Right. A lot of them protect us. A lot of them should not be on the force. I think with the Trayvon Martin, I'm not thinking Rodney King. I'm talking mega echoes. You know, let's go back. You know, this goes all the way back from there. The thing is, the reason why Black matters as well is the fact, man, we have Spanish, Chinese, we have all these people here. See, we get put into a domain where we're forced to pay higher taxes when we have a store. You may not know this, Ben's Chili Bowl. Food ain't no good no more, but when they had to be forced to sell out for the fact of the taxes going up because of what they're building up, he was forced to sell. You know, so they're living off of a name of us. See, I used to live around here in the 70s. You know, I'm 42 years old. It's not all about that. Yeah, he's a security guard. He was wrong. But we give ourselves images when we walk down the street. Hoodies on, pants sagging, and all of that. So to them, they see the same person. When we see a Spanish guy, we see the same person. When we see a Chinese, we see the same person. When we see a white guy, we see the same person. They all look alike to us. We all look alike to them. We have to start doing something different than walking down, hanging on the streets, with our pants sagging down, showing your underwear with brown stains on them, raggedy t-shirts, selling singles, and stuff like that. We have to show that we are legitimate men and women in this black nation. I don't know what the religions are or whatever. There's no judges. There's nothing happened to these people. But you see what happened with the guy that killed Trayvon Martin. What has happened to him now? Maybe the courts didn't do anything, but somebody else had made sure that he didn't get away with it. You know, some people say, man, they ain't even do nothing. You did something before, so you're paying for it now. So let's be men, let's be women, let's be black.
Trayvon Martin situation. Well, it was disturbing to me, mostly because it's bad enough that we gotta fight the system. We have to fight, like we're saying, the police. And it brings me to when people say, oh, Black Lives Matter, what about black on black? No, it's not black on black. It's nigga on black. Because everybody black ain't a black man, just like he's saying. So, my uncle sometimes, he says, you know, well, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for looking at some of us funny when we come somewhere because of how we act, because of what we did. Oh, we're not the greatest murderers in history. Don't get it twisted. And we only started to get crazy on each other through being brainwashed, unless some are just wicked by nature. You know what I mean? So it's not for nobody to say, a human, you look like this, I'm going to take it into my own hands. So it's hard enough we got to fight the police. To have to fight a security or a normal person, that's what scared me. Because it's like we under attack from any damn body. You know what I mean? So that's what it really affected me, because it made me say, anybody feel like they can just kill somebody? Especially, like, and then it's a different thing, like, oh, they found a gun on him. You know, maybe he was about to shoot him. When you don't have a weapon and you get killed with a gun, it's not fair. So I'm just fair. I don't like it.
There was a journey up until this point. You know what I'm saying? I can speak on that much at least. I believe that I am indigenous to this land. I do. And I try not to just title myself as black. I try to entitle myself as a myriad of things, because my family runs deep in this country, from Native American to African, and to the islands. And so I'm indigenous of this land that I'm in. But I did an event not too long ago called a VOD, and it was quoted after vaudeville, after the Black Vaudeville movement. And a lot of folks don't know about blackface or minstrelsy, and they are being the exact definition of that today. On videos, you know, they are doing a sort of what they used to call bojangling again and again. And because we don't have our awareness, because we lack that awareness, we are suffering. Because we don't know what's repeated again and again. Not saying that we can't enjoy ourselves, but we do live or want to live under a smokescreen. And I do understand why we do, because who doesn't want to feel comfortable? Who doesn't want to know that they can go home, get in bed, feel safe, get up, go to work, and take care of their family, and etc. You know? But when that comfortability isn't realistic, you got to start trying to penetrate that surface. You got to start trying to figure out what was happening before, what is going on, you know? A lot of people don't know what the stories that are going on. I was in a production where they're talking about Israel. And people don't even know that Israel is almost identical to what's happening in the U.S. The Palestinians are living in a wall where they're being abused, and there's a space called Gaza, and there's all this, you know, they're living on poverty, and they have nothing, and, you know, and it mirrors a lot of the institutionalization that we have here in D.C. We live surrounded around D.C. jail. We wake up in the morning, oh, D.C. jail, how y'all doing? right there. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's a lack of education and awareness and asking questions and finding what our rights are and finding what is our ingenuity, what is our indigenousness, like who are we? What are we? What if we're indigenous to this land? What makes us indigenous? What makes me own what's around me?
And you know, this is just me speaking from what I believe. You know what I mean? I know that we got people that believe different things, but me personally, the greatest commandment in the Bible is to love. And you know, we talk about the other commandments a lot, but the greatest commandment is to love. To love God with everything you got. To love your neighbor as you love yourself. And because of a lot of things that we've gone through, slavery being one big part of that, we don't love ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We lost, you know, the love of God. We lost the love of each other. And we lost the love of our own selves. So if we don't love ourselves, you know what I mean, or respect ourselves, it's hard to expect that from anybody else. But they gotta understand that slavery, man, the what do you call it? The after effects of slavery are still affecting children that ain't even born yet. So when they born into this life, you know, with this skin, it's already a spiritual thing that's attached to them. You know what I'm saying? From slavery. And that thing, it runs very deep. The only thing that can penetrate the hurts and the issues and the pains of the past is that love. God is love, but that is the only thing that's going to penetrate it. Because if you love your brother, you're not going to go out here and kill him. If I love another human being, whether I'm a cop or a judge or whatever, I want to treat them fairly. I want to see justice for that person. You know what I mean? And if I love myself, I'm not going to put myself in a predicament where, you know, I'm allowing myself to be attacked or that I'm attacking somebody else. You know what I mean? So love is missing, man. And you can see it all over the place. Like the music that we, you know, the kids are being fed and the videos and stuff. I'm an artist myself. I'm not a censor by any means. But when my son was in school and he waking up in the morning, you know, hearing certain things on the radio and then coming home to the same stuff being bombarded into his head, you know what I'm saying? I got to combat that now, you know, and tell him to show him something different in life. But other kids may not have that at home. That's all they being fed. That's all they know. So then we go and perpetrate that stuff, man. So, but without love, man, it's over.
Excuse me, to add to the solution part, I ain't gonna be long, but I really think when you ask for a solution, start with, for one, you can't really change people. Not you. People can change if they want to change. I think it starts with you. Make a change for yourself. Spread love. It will trickle down. People are impressionable. Maybe it'll trickle down to the person that's closest to you, and they'll start to make a change in them, and it'll be a cause and effect going down the ladder. And I think us as artists, like, we really like hold a part in that, like what we say or what we put out there. In the world, man, it means a lot. So everybody just make sure they do the right thing and, you know, don't get caught up in that BS, because, you know, it's all propaganda, man. That's just my opinion, man. Change start with yourself, and you can be the solution that you're looking for.
And, you know, this will be the last question. I'm trying to think of some big picture questions, opposed to specific ones, since, you know, we have the time constraint. Why does this matter? That's my question. Why do Black Lives Matter? I know some people have alluded to some reasons, but I really want to get at that point. And to piggyback on what he just said about the importance of love, how do we love? And I don't want anybody to bite a Lil Wayne lyric. How do you love? So those will be the two questions. Anybody have thoughts on why this matters, and if one of the solutions is love, how do we love each other? Name?
Oh, Buddy Lee Crankman.
Buddy Lee.
How y'all doing? So I'm glad to be here. Glad to be a part of something positive. But I remember I worked in the HIV/AIDS field for. I'm no longer in that field, but I worked in the field when it was thick, on the front line. And I remember being in Atlanta, and I was at a session. And at this session, they said that by the year 2050, African Americans, black people will make up 1% of this country. Now, I haven't done the statistics or research since that time, but that always stuck with me. So when you say why do Black Lives Matter? Why? Because we're becoming extinct. We're becoming extinct. You look around, what we between 11 and 13% now. You look around now, our children won't see each other. So you say when Black Lives Matter, that's why Black Lives Matter. No, we not. All lives matter. So the solution is love. But how do you love? Well, we only know one person to walk the earth that's love, that shows a perfect love. So it depends on what you believe. So until people begin to accept Jesus Christ, which is my belief, then there will be no change. So that's just my belief. And